Okay, today we're going to do a fast and easy repair. If you're a woman, you know the number one problem with ladies' jeans is the pockets are shallow. These are my two favorite pair of jeans. They're the exact same brand, size, just a little bit different wash on them, and the pockets are so shallow. I'm going to open this up so you can see inside. Go to this side where there's no tags, make it easier to look at. Look at that pocket. This is the stitching where the pocket goes in. This is how deep the pocket is. So from the outside, that's how deep it is. So when you put your cell phone in there, when I put my cell phone, literally my cell phone hits right here and the rest sticks out. It's also not very wide this way, which is fine as long as it's deep. So we're going to extend these pockets on both sets. Now, if you see how this pocket is made, it's actually sewn right into the side seam, and I'm not going to rip all of this out. I'm going to open up this much of the pocket on all of the pants, and I'm going to extend it with just some scrap fabric that I have. Fun fact, if you like to wear pants that have the shreds and you extend your pocket with something cute like this, you can actually sew this with this side out instead of to the inside. Like, it's up to you how you do it. But if you sew this on the outside, it will show through where your rips are, and that can be really cute. So this is just scraps from bag liners that I made. I think it's a cute fabric. It's not going to show. It's a nice lightweight 100% cotton. And I'm going to cut my extensions. I'm going to measure and show you how to do that, and I'm going to start ripping out the pockets. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is just measure how wide the pocket is. Now, like I said, I'm not going to go quite this far because it is sewn into that. So I'm going to make an extension that kind of comes like this, sort of like a traditional pocket shape. And this is flat 7.5. So if you double that, it's 15, and then I need a little seam allowance on top of that. So I'm going to cut my piece 15.5 inches wide because I'm going to fold it, and then I want to add, I'm going to say about 4 inches. So I'm going to cut it 15.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to cut 4 because I have 4 pockets, 2 pairs of jeans, 4 pockets. So I'm going to cut 4 rectangles, 15.5 by 4.5 for my jeans. You'll just have to measure your pant and decide how deep you want your pocket and how much width you want to add. But if I do that, my phone for sure will fit down in there, and whatever else. I do use my pockets. I love a good pocket. So I have my favorite ruler. It's marked in 1 inch and 1/8 inch increments, and it might be hard to see in the camera, but I can see my numbers all the way through. It's 18 inches long, and I need 15.5 over here. So I'm going to lay this down. I'm not going to get the seam allowance in. I'm going to lay it next to the seam allowance, and it's a pretty straight cut right there. So I'm just going to mark my 15.5 over here. As I go down, I'm going to mark 1 off, and then I can cut it, use it as my pattern. And this is one of those quickie projects. I'm not being, super picky and precise, but I don't want it to look bad either. And then this needs to be 4.5. So here's my 4, here's my half. Okay, and then I'm just going to measure down 4.5. Now, if this had been cut crooked up here, I would have to make a line up there, but that's actually a straight cut. So we're just using it. And I'm just using a regular pencil. Don't use Sharpie for this project. We don't want the cut line, your pattern line that you've made, permanently put in there. It's called indelible marker for a reason. All right. Pencil, though, comes out pretty easily, and this curved slightly. I saw my fabric move. Can you see how it curved up right there? I don't know if it shows in the camera, but I'm going to redraw this line right at the end, and that's just soft fabric moving. Whoops, I'm struggling with it. All right, so there's the first one. And I can cut this. I'm going to fold it over in half like that on that line that I marked and cut it. Now I'm working on a small space in the way the fabric's pulling it down, so let me adjust my fabric. Excellent. Okay. And now I'm just going to cut down the pencil line. Make sure I didn't take the little curved edge. And there is my pattern, or my pocket extension for one pair. I'm going to do the same thing one more time and I'll be able to start stitching. Have my 4 pocket pieces cut out, and now I'm just going to start seam ripping the old pocket, and you can just see how closely the stitching is down here. So I'm not going to get too close up here. I'm going to attach it with my sewing machine, and then I'll come back and serge off the edge, but it's going to have a little section here that's the old stitching. I'm going to use my sewing machine to reinforce it, which I will show you in a minute. This stitching up here, these two are actually these stitches onto this. So I'm not going to change that. I'm going to come below that. This is where the pocket is, the bottom of the pocket. So it's the bottom overlock stitch, and this is a chain stitch. So chain stitches just go like a dog food bag, which is why you want to reinforce it with your regular sewing machine. So before I do any seam ripping, I'm actually going to go in on all of my pockets and reinforce this. I'm not going to sew through the outside fabric. I'm going to pull it up like this, put it under the machine, and stitch. All right, so I'm at the sewing machine. I have my machine stitch length set. It's just a straight stitch, and the length is 3. And this is what I'm stitching on top of. And I'm going to stitch a little bit on top of this one too, just to keep it in place. But worst case scenario, if all this came out, I can zigzag that edge. Also, it's not going to fit under the serger right there. That's just too close. So, let's see if I'm lined up. There we go. And I'm going to sink my needle. Alright, it always makes that noise. I know if you've watched my videos, you're like, what's going on with her machine? If you've not sewn with one of these, it's just when you first start it up and you first start sewing, it makes these sort of like, I'm ready to sew now, mechanical noises. So I'm just going to stitch. Everything's pulled back, so I'm only stitching through pocket. And now I'm going to reverse back right through the old stitch. And so that was 3 times, back and forth over it, and I'm going to do that for every pocket piece. I don't know why it's being so difficult. Nope. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is, well, I changed my thread color, so I've got white thread on my overlock machine, and now I'm going to serge one edge of my fabric to finish it off. That's the edge that's going to be attached to the pocket, the existing pocket. So I'm going to serge that edge. I'm kind of doing this as I'm flying by the seat of my pants a little bit, but my thought is I'm going to sort of apply or applique this piece to the existing pocket, and then I will finish off the other 2 edges. So that's what I am thinking right now. I may go ahead, the more I think about it, the more I think I need to finish off this short edge too, but I'll take it to the machine and decide, and I'll let you know what I think. Here's my serged edge, and I'm going to do that to all of the pieces real quick. Next, I have to decide if I want to sew it with the right side out so that from the inside it looks pretty from the inside of my pants, or do I want to sew it with the right side in so that the inside of my pocket looks pretty. So if you're doing this on jeans that are torn and that have the ripped style, definitely do the pretty side out because it could show through and it would be cuter. Mine, I don't wear ripped style jeans as a rule, and I think I'm going to do it so that the pretty side is to the inside. So I'm going to take this to this, and I hope you can see that. I'm actually going to, okay, move the camera back just a little bit to make it easier for you to see. So I'm going to place this on top of this, and as I'm doing that, I realize I do want to go ahead and finish this edge. So before I do anything else, I'm going to come back and finish my short edges, and then I'm going to apply it. All right, I'm back. I've serged my short end and one long end, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to let it overlap a little bit. I want a little seam allowance past it. I'm going to actually just apply it on top. So see this raw edge here? I'm not going to worry about it because it's going to be on the inside of the pocket, and I'm going to zigzag these two together. So I'm just going to lay it on top, have a little extra at the end. I'm going to put a few pins in to hold it, and I'm going to pin this all the way around, and you can see where the old stitching was, and so I'm just going to try and line these up to the old stitching like that, and then I'll show you how it stitches together. So here it is pinned in from the inside. This is the inside of my jeans. This is the pocket that I'm attaching it to. The reason I sewed it like this, where I'm applying it and making one flat seam instead of doing, here's mine that I haven't done, the traditional way where you would sew them together like this, right? And then it would kind of flip up and hang on the inside. This is a bulkier seam, and these are sort of a lightweight pant. I do not want this seam to show from the inside of my pants. I don't want it to look like I extended my pocket. So I'm doing what I can to make this as smooth as possible. If I use a heavy fabric, a heavy seam, the likelihood of it showing through on the outside of the pant is great. So I'm doing everything I can to make this as innocuous as possible. So this is my attempt, and I'm going to turn on my machine now, and we're going to zigzag it. So you definitely want to do this with the free arm. If you don't have a free arm, I'm just going to tell you it's going to be a lot more difficult to get this on here. I have two things going against me, and one is in the pocket and it's tight, and the other is you've got to make sure all of your pant leg and everything is out of the way. So I'm going to get this lined up. I'm not going to go right up against this edge. I want a little bit left over for putting the pocket end together. All right. So now we're going to zigzag. Got a wide zigzag here, almost the width of the serger stitch. And it's hard to see it, but it's nice and flat. And I'm just going to do that all the way around the pocket. It is open, so I'm going to go all the way around. All right, I've gone all the way around, and it's not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. This is the outside of the pocket. This is the inside. Okay, and so this raw edge is now on the inside. I actually am thinking I'm going to go back and zigzag one more time on this side up, and try and get more of this raw edge, just so I don't have a whole lot of fraying on the inside of my pocket. So I'm going to do that. All right, so I went ahead and I did a second zigzag in there. This is the inside of the pocket. You can see all the how badly these things fray. This is below where the pocket is serged to the denim. And so that's all put together. So now, okay, fold this in half like this. This is how it looks. And I'm going to go ahead and serge the bottom, and then I'm going to machine stitch this together, and then I'm going to come back and just do some little zigzagging right here at this edge to make sure it stays nice and secure. So to the serger. All right, there's my serged edge. Now we're ready to finish up this pocket by finishing this edge. So this is what's going to hang down on the inside. Finish this edge and this little pit right there. I'm starting with the little zigzagged area. It doesn't really matter that much, but this is what I'm choosing to start with. Just reinforcing everything. Lots of little threads in there. Almost clipped my threads instead of reversed. All right, now I'm going to just turn it, and you can see I didn't line it up perfectly, but I'm not really concerned because it's a pocket. Now I'm going to go to straight stitch, and I just want to stitch right next to my serging, and again I'm going to back stitch. Come down to the bottom, and then I'm going to turn the corner on this. I'm not using my knee lift because I have the camera in the way and I can't get to it, so I'm having to use the manual. I'm going to turn the corner and stitch again at the bottom all the way across. Even though it's serged, pockets just rip out, like they get a lot of wear and tear. So I'm reinforcing my pocket with an extra stitch. And then right here's where my serging ended. So I'm going to turn it and go back to the zigzag and just zigzag this little area. Whoops. There. Just over that serging so the serging doesn't pull out. All right. So now this pocket is done. All right, not the most beautiful pocket you've ever seen from the inside, and I have hairs to trim. So this is what it looks like in the inside of my pants. And this is how it looks on the inside of the pocket. But look at how much deeper it is now. That is a much more practical and usable pocket than this. This is the waistband. So the actual pocket starts way down here. So this was how deep my pocket was before, and now it's that deep. So I'm going to do that on all the rest of my pockets, and I'm going to be one happy camper. And one pair is done. So this is the inside. Here's the front of my pants and inside pockets like that. And then from the outside, you can't tell anything. And you can't see the seam. There's no, it is, I have to even look to find it. Seam's right in here, but it does not show through at all. Yay! So that was today's fast and easy little project. It wasn't something super professional or difficult or time consuming, but it is something very practical that most ladies who bought a pair of pants can appreciate. Instead of having unusable shallow pockets, we now have practical deep pockets. And who doesn't want deep pockets?